Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Civil Gore Podcast. This is our second annual Civil Gore Holiday Gift Guide. I am your host, Tim.
And I'm your host, Brian. And we did it a little different this year because there's been so much horror content. We've had such packed shows that we decided to make this our own little mini-sode this time. So you can really just listen to this on your way to the mall, or if you're online shopping, you can get all your stuff right there along with it, instead of having to listen through our episode to try and find it.
Right, and we wanted to release this early enough because most of the stuff is online that you can get, most of our gift guide stuff. So we're giving you plenty of time. I guess not plenty of time. We got about 2 weeks, but you still should have plenty of time to get it in and get it to your loved ones. And I think we have some really good stuff on the gift guide this year.
Yeah, well, some of this stuff actually, it's funny. It just got released within the past week or so. So this will be kind of good because there's always a lot of this stuff could be used as a stocking stuffer, or if you're really stumped. I know I find sometimes I get this spot in the shopping where I kind of hit this wall, and I'm I don't know what to get for this person. I don't know what to get for them, and it's just. Then you hear something, and not only does it maybe hit the spot and you say that's what I'll get them, or it may inspire to go along that same path. So that's why we tried to get a whole bunch of different horror themed items, in various different themes, so to speak, where you can really find anything for your horror fan that you need to get for.
All right, well, let's get right into it. So first up, in the topic of clothing and collectibles, there are two shirt companies that Brian and I really, really love. First one up is Terror Threads. Terror Threads has some great ugly Christmas sweater type horror themed ugly Christmas sweaters. Some great IPs like Funhouse Massacre, Terrifier. They have Saska Sisters, Danielle Harris, Halloween, The Houses of October Built, Tourist Trap, Sleepaway Camp, and they also have plenty of other things besides shirts like mugs, pins, posters, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and what's so good about that is because any horror fan loves to go. They're like any kind of genre fan where they like to be decked out when they go see a movie or a convention. They want to represent their hobby. So that's why this stuff is always it's kind of a can't miss.
Right.
And so, one of the other sites we love is Fright Rags. I know I've ordered some stuff there, and again, they actually right now have a current thing. I believe it's all through December, or it just could be their new deal altogether. They have a 10% off when you sign up. So if you sign up to be a new, I guess member is not the right term, but new customer, I guess, you can get 10% off your merchandise, which is perfect for now when everyone obviously their credit card bills are just exploding between the stuff you're getting for yourself that we tell you about and the gifts you need to get. And they also have some great IPs as well, as Pet Sematary. They have the original and new Halloween also. They have American Werewolf in London, Evil Dead, Chucky, Creepshow, and they have official trick-or-treat decorations, which is pretty cool. And then they also have something called Frightville Novelties, which is kind of interesting.
Cool, yeah. Those are both great shirt companies, and high quality shirts. So they're a little more on the pricey side for a t-shirt, but you get the quality that you would expect. And so, you're always kind of skeptical when it comes to shirts, you might be getting something cheap or something. But these guys are legit. Both of these companies make really, really good high quality shirts.
Oh yeah, no, we've ordered from them before, and I've also heard from other people that have ordered it, and I've never heard a complaint.
Right, yeah. Next up is Tombzilly. They sell a series of horror hockey themed sweatshirts. So if you have a hockey fan in your life who is also a horror fan, they have some really, really cool stuff. Jason, full horror icons, Pennywise, and they also have some parody shirts of different real teams. So instead of the New York Rangers, they have the New York Strangers. And
that's my one. I want that one because it literally has the Strangers masks on it.
Yeah.
Playing around. And it's funny, another little side note on that, that was a lot of Rangers and Islanders have a big rivalry, as they're both New York, and so they would always go back and forth where we'd call the Islanders the Fish Sticks or the Icelanders, and they would call the Rangers the Rags or the Strangers, because a lot of times they would a lot of the Rangers players would make so many trades back in the day before all the the caps and everything that you would never know who was on the team, so they made a joke that they were the Strangers. But this one, of course, is a Strangers horror IP, which I've hinted many a times so far to Julie that this is something I want, so let's see if she listened.
They have some other cool ones like Pennywise with the Red Wings, and the Blackhawks have Jigsaw incorporated into
Yeah,
it.
but you definitely got to check this out. There's a long website to this, but it's basically www.toomzilly.com/collections/sport-horror. Yeah, so if you look it up, I'm sure if you just look up horror hockey, this comes up, because that's how I found it after I saw I was one of those things where I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw it and I kind of lost the link to it and I'm like, so then I researched it with that exact method and there we go. So, yeah, another thing I think that is always a plus is, and I know I like, this is kind of an underrated gift that some people think of. I think it was back in the day when magazines were huge. That was a much more popular gift, but now I think so many people are on the internet and, print media is not what it was. Mm-hmm. But they still make some really good horror magazines out there, and that a subscription would be a perfect gift for someone, especially, of course, the new relaunch of Fangoria, which we've talked about. Those issues are, they're almost like quarterly books, so that's a great gift. Like if I didn't have that, I'd be pushing hard to make sure someone I gave a good hint on that to get that for me. But there's also Rue Morgue, Scream, Nightmare, stuff like that. There's plenty of other horror magazines out there, even your local comic book store. Like I know like Forbidden Planet had a bunch, remember we were looking at when you guys were in town.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just look at there, and that's always a great idea for someone because, some people just don't get around to thinking to get the subscription for themselves.
Yeah, and plus those subscriptions these are expensive magazines, and the subscriptions are not cheap, and it may be something that you don't want to spend the money on for yourself, but it would make a great gift for somebody, if somebody got that for you. So
right, like Fangoria was what, $60, $60 I think, for the year?
And that was the discounted price.
Right. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was. And by the way, I did see a thing there advertising. I think if you order by December 10th, which by the time this drops, it's past it, so I apologize. So hopefully you somehow just read this as well. Basically, I think that's in time for you to make sure you get issue 2. Yeah. So that's already on its way in about a month. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah. I still have to I haven't read all of 1 yet because it's so much content in there. So I still got to get that.
Next up, we have something you may not think about as being horror related, but it really is. Is like streaming devices like the Fire Stick, the Apple TV, Google Plus. I personally have the Fire Stick. I've also owned a Roku. I think I've owned a Google Plus as well at some point. Google, what was that? What they call it? Chrome Stick or Chromecast. Or
Chromecast, yeah, Chromecast.
I had one of those. But if you have somebody that doesn't have one of these, it really just opens up a world of horror content through not only Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, but also Shudder, which we talk about on the show all the time. I mean, Shudder is just a cheap subscription for what you get. It's just an amazing amount of content. They're always adding new stuff.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, even if, and obviously even if you don't go if they all have these devices, the subscription alone, you can get Hulu gift cards all the time. And I think, I'm wondering if an iTunes gift card you can use for Shudder if you use it on your iPad, because, it does link to that account. Mm-hmm. It does, you do, like mine pays through my Apple ID. So I think you could probably do the same. So if you get someone even an iTunes gift card, you can get that. And that alone could also download some horror movies that they like. And I found just this week alone, I mean, we mentioned it last week, Pluto TV, but I found on the Fire Stick, they had a whole bunch of these other little like horror apps I never heard of on there. And I forgot the names of them. I forgot right off the bat, but if you go look on just apps on Fire Stick, you can find a ton of different apps there that was genre specific, and there were a couple of horror ones. Some were just completely free. They didn't even need a subscription to it. So just like so Tim nailed it on the head by saying it opens up a world of content. And I mean, especially it's like now that I have between Hulu, I have it. I mean, you will never be starving for a horror movie at any moment, which is great. So this I know it sounds like such an odd thing to suggest for a horror gift guide, but it really is a perfect gift for those who don't have it. So another thing I found just by stumbling about. See, the thing is, when I was working, I was literally Googling all kind of stuff. So I found this great site on I guess it's Etsy, and it was called Crystal Lake Customs. So obviously, of course, there's some Friday the 13th items here, but there's also a lot of cool like custom stuff for all kind of horror IPs. Like there's a Michael Myers clown mask painting. And it's like $16.66. I mean, so you can get, these are almost like little items, and there's a cool 12-inch leather face saw blade
Yeah, like they're very reasonable.
Yeah, and there's some full on Jason mask. I mean, for $35 to get a replica Jason mask.
Yeah.
That's great, and there's some great shadow boxes. There's a little bit more expensive stuff. I thought one of the cool things was there's a cool tin sign that says "Welcome to Santa Mira," which is home of Silver Shamrock Novelties, of course. So there's some really cool little things. There's that they've done, and I mean you could just be lost on Etsy. In all honesty, for a long time, but this site, when I stumbled across it, I thought, wow, this is great. And like Tim said, the prices on it are super, super reasonable. If you need just like a last minute gift that someone is not going to buy for themselves, because I don't even know it exists.
Yeah, the nice thing about Etsy, I like getting gifts on there, is because a lot of times they're handcrafted, and so they're one of a kind, they're unique, and they're not going to be something somebody can go out and buy in the store for themselves. So if you're looking for kind of like, if you're one of those people who likes to give like a unique gift and don't want to do the typical corporate thing where you just get them something they could just go grab at Target any weekend, Etsy's a good choice because they just have a wide variety of really, really talented people out there making stuff.
Yeah, I know Julie's bought other just the non-horror stuff on Etsy, because like Tim said, it's like it's there's some people that just are done with going to the stores or buying from corporate sites, yeah. And Etsy is your answer.
Next up, there's a site that we have promoted on our Facebook page quite a bit, and that's ANC Creations and Adam's Design. This guy makes just these amazing horror-themed Adirondack chairs. And they even have sounds and music incorporated in them. He's got a Michael Myers chair, a Jason chair, a Freddy chair.
If I had a place for this, I would be owning.
Oh my god!
Now we're in an apartment. I just can't fit this giant Adirondack chair in there right now.
Yeah, now these obviously don't come cheap because these are like one of a kind, handcrafted, just decked out. But if you really, really wanted to set somebody up, I mean, with a fantastic horror gift, these things are amazing. And you can go back on our Facebook page and probably find the link that we've shared videos of him creating these and everything. So they're really, really cool.
Yeah, whenever he does, when I'm going through, if I ever see him post something, I'll always share it because it's always something just fantastic. And I know he does commission stuff too. Like he'll customize something even that he doesn't show on his site. If you give him the you probably tell him what you want, he'll go ahead and do it. And he's added to, I guess, maybe adding horror prints and wall decor and stuff like that. So he's not just the chairs. He does a lot of great content. So
cool. He's
definitely someone to check it out. And then sort of another interesting idea is, because of course, I know Tim is like this and I'm like this too. We like to add a little pop culture and fun to our Christmas trees. And so there are a lot of horror ornaments out there too. And there's one site I saw was just I'm gonna butcher this the way it says it because it's one of those things you look at it and it looks like you want to say both words, but it's horror ornaments is the best way to say it. So it's basically horror and ornaments in one word. So it's horror-naments, if you want to spell it out, .com. And they have some fantastic IPs already. Yeah. I mean, they got Cthulhu, Ghostface from Scream, Elvira, R.A. Mahaloff series. They have a Kane Hodder series. Tons of
and they're
IPs.
Reasonable too. They're not that expensive.
Right.
I mean, like, I'm looking at these, are like, $11, $12 for these really cool ornaments.
Yeah, and ornaments can get pretty pricey. And it's like, and if you look at they just have some really like unique ones. Like the Kane Hodder has a little coffin where it says kill, and then ED is in blood, and they have just a lot of really, really cool little things. I like the Cthulhu one is cool because it kind of looks like my little like Cthulhu figure that I have that sometimes accompanies me to play. I gotta start bringing that back. You know what? I gotta bring these guys to when I go on my LA trip.
Yeah, we kind of fell off
California
of that.
trip.
Do that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because we're gonna hit LA a little bit, and hopefully, actually, I should bring the little Michael Myers because gonna try and swing by the Halloween house when we're there on our drive back towards the Bay Area. So hopefully, I'll try and get some good stuff from there.
Next up, you guys know I love books, horror books. That is, I actually love all books, but horror is my preferred genre, and we have some really cool horror books on the menu here. Now, I would add in some novels here. Brian's got some nonfiction on like cookbook things, which those are really cool too. There's also some great like coffee table books of like different horror movies. If you go in like a Barnes and Noble and go over to like the film section, they usually have a great section of like stuff dedicated to like a particular film, like it might be an American Werewolf in London or The Shining or something, but then they might also have those books that are like dedicated to tons of different horror movies. Like I have that one from looking at it now, Monsters in the Movies by John Landis. Fantastic
right.
book. So kind of check that little film section in your local bookstore. Sometimes you can find some really cool horror books in there. But the ones we had listed here are really neat too, because my wife loves to cook, and she's always looking for cookbooks ideas and cookbooks for Christmas. And we have some horror-themed cookbooks here. Deceptive Desserts, A Lady's Guide to Baking Bad by Christine McConnell, of course, who has the Netflix series out.
And this book keeps selling out.
Really?
I've looked at it twice because I think they don't make a lot of them. Because twice since I've seen it appear on Amazon, it's been in stock and then has a new date, like in stock again on this date, and then it's out. I mean, it could be Amazon just having issue, but I know it's something that I remember when I first found it. It was actually out of stock and it was coming in like a week later. And and then sometimes I saw the thing where it says like 2 left. So I mean, I'm sure with the popularity of the show, this will be a hot item if people have discovered it. I don't even know if people knew it existed. I just found it. I think it was it on her Instagram she might have posted. I don't remember how I discovered it, but I think I may have been Googling something about the show, and maybe it came up that way. I'm not sure, but yeah, this would be cool to own. I know I told Tim right away about this one.
I mean, her creations are elaborate. I don't know how elaborate these creations get in this cookbook, or if they're a little more feasible, but be interesting to check that out. I hope so.
I mean, this woman made an urn of cake that poured coffee, for God's sake.
This next one I'm really excited about. I had no clue this existed, but it's called The Nightmare Before Dinner, Recipes to Die For, The Beetle House Cookbook. This is a Tim Burton-themed cookbook, if you can believe that.
Yes. And I have it now because that was one of my mom's gifts to me, actually. Remember I told you we did the holidays early?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I actually got this book, and it's really cool because it has all the recipes that were at the restaurant. Remember that I'd gotten to go just to the bar part because to actually there's not many tables in it, so you really have to book in advance if you want to get an actual meal there. But it has a lot of the drink recipes in there, and it has a lot of the food, so that's really good.
That's really cool. I may have to get that one.
Yeah, I think it was pretty. It's pretty inexpensive. I think it's like under $20.
Nice.
So it's a good price point for someone. So then, of course, obviously, the online stores. I mean, obviously, everyone knows the Amazons and all that stuff. But just in case you weren't aware that some of the great, especially for like those, the horror action figures and horror figurines. There's one of my personal favorites. This is where I got like Tim's gift actually from last year was a Muck Time Toys. They've been around for a while on Long Island. So the guy, Paul James Lazo, who's the owner, he used to own I think he'd started first at like a little small, like kind of thing out of his garage or something. Then he had opened up a little store. Then he moved to a bigger store. And now apparently, I have not been to his new store yet, but his online business is so big that it's and he gets exclusives. He had the water zombies there,
nice,
of course, from Creepshow he was promoting. But he gets some exclusives. He gets a lot of the horror IPs that you see that they sell through, like all the NECA stuff. So definitely another good source. Some Muck Time Toys. Entertainment Earth is another good one. Of course, they have everything. I mean, they're not just horror, but they have everything. They're actually one of the best places to get Star Wars stuff too, by the way. Then there's Big Bad Toy Store. Of course, Walmart online now that they've expanded, they're doing their own section like Target did. Mm-hmm. Toy Wiz is another good one. The official NECA store actually has some stuff, but I don't know how they seem to be sold out of everything every time I look.
Yeah, they usually are.
Yeah, Forbidden Planet, of course, which Tim got to see when he was in New York.
One of the highlights of my trip. I love that place.
Yeah, oh God, I love that place. And that actually has good online things, same price as you can get in the store, which is actually pretty good for a brick and mortar store. Their prices are fantastic in there, and so their online is just as good. And GameStop, of course, we can get a lot of. They have their exclusives coming up too, so keep an eye on that. I mean, I know it won't be in time for Christmas because I think they come out in February and March, but you could get maybe a gift card for someone. It was like one of those gifts like, as it comes in, this is your gift. Once it arrives, I pre-ordered this for you or something. Of course, I'm talking about those 2 8-bit Freddy and Jason NECA figures that are coming out.
Yeah, I got to get the Freddy one now that I have the Jason one.
Yeah, I need both, actually. Yeah.
So next up, are NECA figures.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
good segue,
yeah,
right?
great segue. Yeah, I like I said, I've got. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to look up at the shelf without staying in range of the microphone. But I've got several of the Jasons, including the 8-bit one, and I've got the Ultimate Evil Dead Ash, and these things are just awesome figures. I don't think they've ever made a bad figure, honestly. There's never a NECA figure I've seen that I haven't wanted to own, and being able to walk into Target and get them now is just even more incredible. But, some of the IPs, Friday the 13th, of course, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Gremlins. The Gremlins set is fantastic looking.
Yeah.
Then they have the accessory set, so if you like to take yours out of the box and pose them, you got all these kind of cool accessories, pop vinyls, all that.
Yeah, that's I put that there, but that actually should be on a separate
Yeah, pop
section,
vinyls are Funko, but...
Yeah, I meant to put that as a separate thing. It got caught up in there. Sorry, my editing of the page was not... as well as I thought.
But anyway, pop vinyls, I mean, I collect all horror pop vinyls, so those are awesome too. So, I mean, they kind of all fall in that same category of just like figures and action figures and stuff. But I think if you don't know pop vinyls or Funko by now, then you're probably living under a rock, because...
See, this is why Tim does the heavy lifting, because I make silly mistakes like this. So.
No, but it's all good. Any of these are just awesome presents for horror fans. I know I have 2 shelves full of just horror items, and that's where I throw anything. I don't know what I'm going to do when those shelves fill up. I guess I'm going to have to build more shelves.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I have my 2, and I have the 3rd one that Julie bought as an extra one in case I need it. She's like, I don't know if you need it yet. And at the time I didn't, but that's around the time when all the Jasons started being released by NECA. So the shelves filled up right away. Yeah, so another thing, of course, obviously, is a lot of horror fans are also... like Tim and I are video game fans, and in case you didn't know, I don't know if you, because I know we don't really cover it that often, but there's a Friday the 13th video game out there.
Really?
Yeah, did you know that?
That's awesome.
Yes, of course. If you do not heard of that, you haven't been listening to our show, number one, for sure. But yeah, so that game, and it just actually, and this is an intentional pun, they just slashed the prices. That's how they're saying it too. So I think it's like I don't know. I think it's like $19.99 or under, or $14.99 for good. Now that's it. It's down to that price. That's what it is from now on. So,
nice.
And of course, if you don't have it, we all know the troubles and all that. We're not going to go into that, but still, it's one hell of a game. And now the version you can get, I think that's in retail, basically includes all the packs and everything. So you just have the game ready to go, and you can go right in there and play. And it's such a fun game still. It was funny. So a little quick side story. We were watching for some reason I think it was Showtime yesterday had Friday the 13th Part 1 and 2 on the originals. And so I was watching them because they were on, and Julie was kind of like doing something on her computer, but she kept popping her head up during Part 2, and there was a part when the girl ran to, like, one of the characters has the yellow car that's featured in the game, and she looked up, she's like, that's the car in the game. I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, they said they based a lot off of, said, they based a lot off the movie, so it's just pretty good. So so if you're a fan of the movie, the brain's a no-gamer, game is a no-brainer. Yeah. Not the brain is a no-gamer, but that's backwards. But, yeah, and of course, there's also, I haven't been playing it too much because I can't speak. But, there's also, of course, Dead by Daylight's another great horror game, Resident Evil, and, I mean, there's just so many coming out now that I don't even know the names of them. There's so many that you can get either on your iPhone or iPad, or just download them right onto your Xbox.
Yeah.
So.
Next up, I've got some horror board game suggestions for you. So, as you guys know, I'm a big board gamer. I went to the big Gen Con convention last year. We have a game group that has met weekly for 2 years now, running, that plays board games for about 4 hours every Tuesday night. And one of the recent acquisitions I've had is called Arkham Horror. This is the 3rd edition of the game, and this is a Lovecraftian board game in which you are cooperatively working as a team to try to stop the forces of Cthulhu and some of the elder gods.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's really, really cool. It's got a modular board, and it has various scenarios so that the map changes with each scenario. And basically, you're running around. Everybody plays a character that has special abilities, and you're trying to close gates before they open, and monsters are spawning out, and you're trying to fight those and also uncover the mystery of the scenario and figure it out before time runs out. Really, really fun game. I've actually been playing it solo quite a bit. It supports solo play up to 5 players, I think. And
oh, wow.
Fantastic game. Arkham Horror 3rd Edition. There is a 2nd edition that's still available. I would recommend the 3rd edition because they made a lot of improvements and really streamlined the game time. It takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours to play now, whereas it used to take an all-day affair, 4 to 6 hours sometimes, because I also own the 2nd edition. But highly, highly recommend Arkham Horror 3rd Edition. And also another one, I have not played this one yet, but it just seems like such an interesting premise. It's called Nyctophobia, which is the fear of the dark. And this game is one in which one player plays the role of the killer, and the other players play the role of the survivors, except there is a twist. They wear these specially designed blackout sunglasses that are included in the game so that they are basically blind and have to navigate by touch. So there is...
Oh, so you navigate the board game by not seeing?
Yes.
That's awesome.
There's an actual raised maze. The board game is actual raised maze, and it has ridges and stuff, and you're basically trying to escape from this killer. And I think there's 2 different scenarios. You can play like you're running from like an evil mage or evil kind of a fantasy version, and there's also like an axe-wielding killer, more for the horror fans, and you're trying to get through this maze. I don't know exactly how it plays, but I do know the idea that I'm trying to escape from somebody with only my hands touching the game board sounds pretty terrifying. So yeah, that's pretty good. That's cool. And I want to know how do you roll a dice and have to feel for like the... I don't really know. I don't know how the gameplay really works. Cool. I'm going to go watch some videos on it, but I kind of stumbled across it as I was researching for the gift guide. It just sounded like a really, really cool game for a horror fan. I kind of want it now. I'm like, wait a minute. This actually sounds really fun. I want to say I've seen it at Target. So go check that out. Yeah. It may be I wonder if I guess you got to play it with people you really trust, since you'll all be blind and essentially with your glasses on. And it's probably one that works better for like a bigger group, like at least 4 people. So one person can be the killer, and then you have a really good team that's kind of helping each other try to escape. So it's kind of asymmetrical in that respect. So, I'm going to definitely check that one out because it sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, no, that sounds really cool. If you get that, we'll have to bring it to like one of our meetups. Oh, yeah, for sure. That'll be cool. So, so the next one, here's a big surprise. Horror Blu-rays. And, I mean, if we didn't have this on here, you'd feel cheated because, of course, obviously we have our dismemberment section where we tell you what's coming out. So you really don't need this piece, but we're going to give it to you anyway because we've told you this all year. But some of the ones, of course, a box set, I think, though, all kidding aside, that's always one of the great things to get for a horror fan because box sets are tricky because, first of all, sometimes they come out after people have had like a couple of movies, so you're a little bit hesitant to then invest in the box set unless you're like Tim and I and we just go for it. But there's some people that are like, well, I have the first 2, and now should I just keep getting the single versions? But sometimes the box sets look so amazing, they come with exclusive perks. And so I figured I thought we'd list some of the cool ones here. Of course, there's the Phantasm one, which Tim and I have bought. The Chucky one, which is amazing, so cool, which is a must-own if you love that franchise. Critters has just released their box set, and another one which we mentioned that they have season 1 and 2 out of the Outer Limits set, and that one, just even if you're just a casual fan of that, just the content. Remember, if you go back a couple episodes where Tim went through in depth the list of features on that alone, it's almost like one of the perfect box sets to get. Yeah, it's really almost like it feels like a premier like luxury box set. It's not that expensive. You can get it for $50 each season, which is not terrible for a box set, especially with this much content. But just and that caliber, just the look and feel of it. It's just a really well made set. Yeah, and then of course, if box sets are a little bit out of your price range, because it depends who you're getting it for. Sometimes your exchange group has a limit. There's some great regular sets of discs, special editions. Now, of course, I know we're like a little on the fence with these guys lately because we don't know what's going on with the Scream Factory one, but we'll still put it anyway. And of course, there's the Creep Show set, which I just was able to get, the Trick or Treat set, which I still on my list. So I'm hoping someone found it and got it. Night of the Demons,
the Sisters Criterion set, the Trilogy of Terror one. I mean, there's so many that I'm looking there. And I do have an Amazon gift card, which I cannot use yet because I want to see what I get because, some of it's on my wish list. So I'm like, I got to wait till the season's over until but that's the day I look forward to is like right after I'm done.
Oh, yeah.
We're done exchanging because then you just go with it. If you have any gift cards or you like basically it's almost like that wedding registry thing they do, where you can complete your set at discounted price.
Yeah, I know. That's
kind of what I look forward to.
I almost look forward to the day after Christmas more than Christmas because I get to go out and just like buy the stuff I didn't get.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, and I literally have like and then you sometimes will have gift cards to even help you through that. And it's just, so exciting. Yeah. So there's that. And, of course I just named a few there, there's no shortage of great,
no, and I will stand by. We usually give a pick of the week. Sometimes we forget to do it, but usually we give a pick of the week every episode. And a lot of times Brian and I will pick different discs. For our picks of the week, I stand by those 100%. I think any of those that I pick for pick of the week, I'm sure Brian feels the same, would be an excellent gift.
Yeah, and they're usually in our collection. It's
right.
Whether we get them right away or we get them as a gift or wait a little bit till they go down in price. But yeah, those usually that we pick like that are something that we would proudly own in our collection.
Yeah. Lastly, on our list, we have this great website called creepycompany.com. And their logo says Creepy Co., but their website is creepycompany.com. They have some really cool stuff. I've been kind of browsing through here while we've been talking, and one of the things I really loved is this Halloween retro VHS box art blanket, which they're sold out of right now, but it looks really cool.
I know. I was so bummed because I was like, I think when I first found it, they weren't sold out. And then I looked again. I was like double checking the list, and when I went in a second time, it was gone already. I was like, oh,
yeah. But they have
this is cool.
Man, they have such cool stuff on here. I mean, and it's not just horror. They have Garbage Pail Kids stuff. They got some crazy cool shirts, crazy cool just unique items for horror fans, and not a whole lot of stuff. But the stuff that
it's like decor, right?
But a lot of stuff. But the stuff they do have is really amazing. So, yeah, if you want to go check out some, just kind of get lost in a website of things that you want to own, check out creepycompany.com. Really, really cool.
Yeah, and especially it's great for, if you have, your own little, like Tim has this little office room with a bunch of, a little horror section he has built up. These are great stuff, if you have, or especially if you have you don't want, sometimes you don't want to display your horror stuff out. Like Tim, purposely has his room because he's got little kids, and it's not really for everyone to see some of these horror things. Me right now, I only been, because we're in an apartment right now, but I have, my little horror corner with some great stuff. But, it's great to put, when you have a pillow or a blanket like that, just throw on there just to add to your theming.
Yeah, they have some of these shirts are awesome. One's called Easy Bake Coven, and it's got these witches, little girl witches dancing around an oven. They got one that's Halloween Safety, a babysitter's guide, and it's got Michael Myers standing behind Laurie Strode, and all kinds of just a Bloody Mary t-shirt. Let's conjure Bloody Mary, hobbies and games. So there's some really cool stuff.
Yeah, that was a cool one. When I found that one, I was and like Tim said, I was on it for a while trying to look into that, looking at the site. So yeah, that's definitely one to check out too.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I hope you got some ideas from this gift guide this year. And we'll do this every year because it's always fun to kind of go ahead and research this. I mean, I do this just to get stuff to put on my list.
Yeah, I was saying how it took me but it was one of the most fun things to do because you end up getting lost in these things, and it was just the only thing different is instead of just putting it on my list, I ended up making it into a list for everybody too.
All right, guys. So happy holidays. We'll be back here soon with another new episode before our Christmas break. So take it easy, and we'll talk to you later.
See you later.